भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ।
Dear friends, welcome back to the study of the Mundaka Upanishad. We were studying the second chapter of the second Mundaka and we had covered 5 shlokas. The subject matter of this chapter is very, very important, and at the same time, without properly understanding it, we cannot proceed in our spiritual practices. This is something which I want to drive home to your understanding. Now, the subject matter is the concept of Brahman. And we are told, Brahman is beyond perception, beyond time, beyond space, therefore it is infinite, it is eternal, it is immutable, it is absolute, and it is not perceivable by my 5 sense organs. With all these definitions, the most important factor that arises in our mind is, how do we conceive it? If it is beyond the domain of our perception, even a far-flighted imagination, if it is beyond that, how do we meditate on it? This is the point of contention. And in those days, the method of teaching was a bit different. This second chapter starts with Avi Sannihitam Guhacharam Nama Mahat Padam. Avi means prakashashil, effulgent, which makes you understand that sense of awareness within you makes you understand. So, the word Avi is effulgent grammatically, for the purposes of spiritual practice, it is awareness, which illuminates my understanding. Good enough? It is awareness. The nearest concrete example that we can find in our world is the sun. The light of the sun illuminates everything. As because it illuminates, that's why I see. My perception of vision, my organ of vision, is active within a short span, above which it is darkness, below which it is darkness, but the sun's light illuminates it. I am aware you are sitting in my presence. I am aware. How does it all happen? My sense organs visualizes you, it goes through a psychological process, illuminates, reaches the brain explores it, and then you say, I know. How do you know? Because your awareness illuminates it. That is why effulgence luminosity is equated with awareness and experiencing or knowing. And sannihitam, it is very, very safely, securely poised, placed within you. Guhacharam nama. You're very, very securely, very, very tangibly placed within you in the cave of your heart, in the cave of your personality. That is, awareness and existence goes hand to hand. They are inseparables, and they are the basic concept of Sat-Swarup, Chit-Swarup, Ananda-Swarup Atma, Sat-Chit-Ananda Swarup Atma. I am constantly aware I am. I exist. I am aware I exist. Existence and awareness go simultaneously, hand to hand, inseparably. And it is said, your true original nature or my true original nature is Sat-Chit-Ananda Swarup. That is your true, real, original nature. Sat-Swarup, Chit-Swarup, Ananda Swarup. When I say I am aware of my existence. Satta is your existence, and Chetana, Chit-Swarupata is your awareness. So I am aware I am. A portion of my true original nature is coming forward, coming to the surface, and I know I am aware I am aware I exist. Existence is Satya, Satta, and awareness is Chetana. Ananda Swarupata is not experienceable by me as of now. The teachers explain that your Ananda Swarupata is not being experienced by you because you are putting a filter in yourself. You know the part of a filter, what role it plays? Say, for instance, here is a blazing fire. You want the luminosity of the fire to read or to knit or do something. But it is midsummer, you don't want the heat. So you go through, what do I do? And then you remember, you have studied when you were a schoolboy, a student, that mica is a partially clear, transparent, opaque, partially opaque element. And mica will allow the light to percolate through, but the mica will not allow the heat to come through. It's an insulation of heat. It does not allow the heat to come out, but will allow the light to come out. So you have solved your problem. You put a piece of mica in front of the blazing fire, you enjoy the luminosity, the effulgence, the light of fire, but you are not troubled by the heat of light. You have an insulation between blazing fire and yourself, and you get the light out of it. You don't allow the heat to come out of it. You have used your common sense, your experience, and you get it done. Now what is happening? I am aware I am. But somehow or other, because of the influence of Maya on me, because of the influence of Ajnana, Avidya, Shakti on me, I unfortunately have identified myself with the body-mind complex, and because of that identity, I expect, desire so many things of the world. This desire of things of the world, because I do not know my true original nature, because I know my body-mind complex as myself, I have put in an insulating filter between my true original nature and what I think myself to be, through which that filter allows satta, awareness of existence, and chetana, awareness. It percolates through. But because of the desire of the things of the world, that Ananda Swarupata cannot percolate through. So what is the answer? Remove that insulation, the desire of the world. And that is why Kabir Das, the medieval saint of India, he said in this small little limerick that, look, chaha means desire, O desire, tu ati nichan ki neech, you are the lowliest of the low, dirtiest of the dirty, meanest of the mean. Why? We live with our desire. Without desire, life means nothing. How does Kabir Das say so? He explains, Are, main to Brahma hu. Now listen to me. I am Brahman, Sat-Chit-Ananda Swarup Atma. That is what I am. Sat-Chit-Ananda Swarup Brahma. That is what I am. You have come between me and my true original nature as a filter, and satta and chetana is coming through. Ananda is unable to come through. Remove that desire and you will know who you are. Main to Brahma hu, agar tu na hote beech. If you have not interfered in between me and my true original nature as an insulation, I would have been what I am. It is because of you I have lost my true identity. Sannihitam here means abhihi, chetana swarupa, prakashamay, effulgence, sannihitam, guhacharam. Deep down within myself, I am aware I am. Mahat padam etat sarvam samarpitam. All that you see, sarvam. Sarvam means all inclusive, nothing exclusive. There's nothing which is not included in. That is, the whole cosmos with its diversity is established on it. This is how he is describing our true original nature. Maharishi Angirasha, through the Mundaka Upanishad, is trying to describe us how to concentrate and meditate on our true original nature. Avihi sannetam guhacharam, deep down within myself, mahat padam etat Sarvam Samarpitam. Mahat Padam. It is an endless platform on which the whole cosmos is existing. Now, this is an enigmatic statement. I see the table is here on this space. I see my glasses are here. You say the whole cosmos is there. What is that platform? How big is it? The cosmos itself is infinite. How do I understand this? He says, understand it as how I say I am and I say the world is. Amness is a grammatical expression of isness. When it is subjective, I say I am, I don't say I is. But when I objectify it, I say it is, the world is. Now, this amness and this isness, that is the platform on which the whole cosmos is. Isness and amness. Mahat Padam. Etat Sarvam Samarpitam. All that you see, no exclusion, all inclusion, is based on awareness of isness. It is. The cosmos is. So you see, dears, apart from the grammatical meaning, as because it is beyond perception, so no description is possible. Direct definition is not possible. It has to be indirect reference. And these are the indirect references. Now you say, oh, I understand. My awareness is my true original nature. My awareness of my existence is my true original nature. And I am at home. It's very common. I keep on saying, I am. Amness is isness. So awareness and existence is spontaneously experienced by me. My Ananda Swarupata is not coming through because of that insulation known as desire. Filter. You cut it off. The rest comes out, isness comes out, awareness comes out, but Ananda Swarupata doesn't come out. Remove that desire and you are poised in the majesty, excellent magnificence of your own true being. That is what it is. So you now see, putting words in such a manner that he is trying to create in you a sense of awareness, how to meditate on it. This is the theoretical part, the first two shlokas which we have read. Then the third and the fourth shloka, or the fourth and the fifth shloka, he gives you an example. Example of a bow, example of an arrow, and example of a target. But unfortunately, when you are exemplifying, bow is something separate, arrow is something separate, the bow has its front piece and the bowstring, and the third object is the arrow. All of them are different. But when you meditate, You are asked to meditate within yourself. Where are those three elements within you? He says, Dhanur Grihitva Upanishadam Matram. Get hold of the bow. The bow is nothing else but the wisdom or the ideas emanating from the study of the Upanishad. What is the idea emanating from the Upanishad? Brahma Satya, Jagat Mithya, Jiva Brahmaiva, Nacha Apara. Acharya Shankara says, in half a shloka is a verse with 2 lines. He says, in one line, I will tell you what thousands and thousands and thousands of scriptures all over human society has been trying to explain. I will explain to you in one short sentence. What is that? Brahma Satya, Jagat Mithya, Jiva Brahma Eva, Na Cha Apara. What does it mean? Jagat Mithya, Brahma Satya. Brahman is the absolute reality. It is beyond the effect of time, space and causation. Desha, Kala, Nimitta, beyond that. It is eternal. Jagat Mithya. What is Mithya? Mithya means that which appears to be real, but on scrutiny it finds it is not real, it is transitory. Don't get by the words. Everything in this world changing every moment. Momentary existence. Kshanikam, kshanikam, sunyam, sunyam. Kshanikam, kshanikam, momentary. Past, present, future. Present goes into the past and the future comes to the present. And then for a moment it stays in the present, goes back to the past. This movement of past, present and future becomes the present becomes the past. This game is going on. Because of its continuity, it appears to be real, but it is not real. And you, Jiva, whom you have identified yourself with, you, Jiva, you are nothing else but that Brahman. Get rid of these misconceptions, identifying yourself what you are not. That is what we are doing. Not only that's what we are doing, we are past masters in doing so. Keep on identifying myself with my body, my name, my appearance, my qualities, and my utilitarian value in this society. I can't go beyond that. I am a jiva, a man of limited understanding. And Acharya Shankara says, you are the infinite, you are the eternal, you are the immutable, you are the absolute, you are the Atman, you are the soul. This is what you have to realize. How do you realize we are the victim of our past force of habit? And that forces me to think I am Sridharananda and all that goes along with it. I am a victim of my habit of erroneous, wrong thinking. How does the habit form? Repetitive, willful, similar thinking creates a habit of thinking. Repetitive, similar way of thinking creates a force of habit. I don't know for how many lifetimes I've been thinking that way, what to speak of this life. So the hold of that habit is so strong that I am a victim of my habit, I am a victim of the Maya Shakti, Avidya Shakti, Ajnana Shakti. If this is the way habit forms, repetitive, similar activity creates a force of habit, then I can from now onwards try to create a force of habit which will be contrary to the force of habit of which I am a victim today. It appeals to my reason. I am a victim of my force of habit. How did that habit arise? By repetitive, similar activity performed over and over and over again creates a force of habit. And all of us would say, that is true, that is true. Well, if that is true, why don't I, having understood what the Upanishads are teaching me, why don't I create a habit, repetitive, similar activity over and over and over again creates a habit? Why don't I, through my attitudinal correction, keep on thinking of my true original nature? I am the Brahman. I am the Atman. I am totally free. I have no bondage whatsoever. I think, and in the wakeful state, when I'm thinking, it is not so concentrated, I go back to the state of nididhyasana, deep penetrative thinking. Penetrative means I am trying to penetrate the veil of ignorance or the screen of ignorance. So he is now giving you an example. How to meditate. How to create that habit. What is meditation? Intense intellectual or mental activity. Similar. Repetitive. That's the definition of habit formation. Similar, repetitive, performed activity, performed over and over and over again, creates a habit. So meditation is creating a habit. And as because the force of my past habit of ignorance of my true original nature is so deep, my force of habit of ignorance of my true original nature is so deep, I have to spend all my life's energy and time on that. And how does he explain? They explain a bow, the bowstring, the arrow, and the target. It's an external example so that we readily understand. That has to be performed internally. What is the bow? What is the arrow? What is the bowstring? What is the target? All within myself. How do I do that? So in 2 shlokas, the Upanishadkara explains to you. Let me recite the 2 shlokas. Dhanur grihitva Upanishadam mahastra. Mahastra. A weapon is to destroy and to kill. Upanishadsu bhavam Upanishadam. That which is hidden and available in the study of Upanishads. It's a basket full of ideas which will help you to realize your true original nature. That is the dhanu for you. The ideas emanating from the Upanishads, those ideas are to be utilized as you utilize the bow. Ajamya tadbhava gatena chetasha. You pull the bowstring as much as you can behind your ears. Your left hand is fully stretched out and your right hand with the bow, the arrows, bowstring and the arrow together, you pull it back as much as you possibly can. What? Your faculties of concentration. Sharam is your jiva, yourself. You yourself. Upasa nihitam. Upasa nishitam, not nihitam. Upasa nishitam. Sharam hi upasa nishitam shabdadina. Sharam is your faculty, your determination, your willpower. Or all your faculties together, rationality, emotionality, ingenuity and willpower. Sharam nishitam upasha nishitam. That is, with prayerfulness, you sharpen it, you hone it, you polish it. And put it in its proper place and pull the bowstring as much as you possibly can, because that gives you the energy to pierce the target. All within yourself, ideas emanating from the Upanishad is the dhanu and the bowstring. You are Sharam Upasha Nishitam, the jiva whom you know as I am. You are Upasa Nishitam, sharpened, honed, polished. If the tip of the arrow is blunt and not sharpened, it will not penetrate. It will hit and fall back. Therefore, it has to be polished, honed and sharpened by self-imposed disciplines. What is the discipline? Not to be attached to the worldly things and fritter away your energy. Bhajya sadhana nirapeksha. Don't think of the world at all. Conserve your energy. And then you let the bow go. Let the arrow go. With that momentum of yours, the arrow penetrates the target. What is the target? Your true original nature, which in the domain of ideas you have received from the study of the Upanishads. And that is your goal of life. That is what the first sloka says. Dhanur grihitva Upanishadam mahatram swaram hirupasha nishitam samdadita ajamya tadbhavagatina chetasa sobhya vitti. That is what you have to penetrate. And then he concentrates. The next sloka. Pranavo dhanu sharohi atma brahma tat laksham uchyate apramattena vedhyabhyam sharavat tanmayo bhavit. This is the essence. Please remember, memorize it, remember it, and think of it all the time. The wisdom emanating from the Upanishads is the goal. What is that goal? I am the Atman, I am the Brahman. I am Atma Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi. I am Atma Brahma is an intellectual state. Aham Brahmasmi is the experience of that intellectual, crystal clear, rock solid conviction. I am Atma Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi. That is your goal. And that is your goal to reach. And how do you reach? By collecting and managing, manipulating all the energy and the faculties that you have. Don't fritter away your energy in worthless pursuit. Pranavo dhanu sharohi atma brahma talaksham uchyate apramattena vedhyabhyam. You have to pierce that target without any confusion, confounded thinking, without dissipating your energy in pursuit of unreal things. Apramattena. Pramatta means confounded, under delusion. That is what pramatta means. Under no delusion. Under no delusion you carry on. And what is the end result? The arrow, when pierces the target, the tip of the arrow is lost. It is all in the target. Sharavat tatmaya bhavit. You become one with that. So, though an external example is given, but internally what happens, dear, is you have to put it into practice in your day-to-day life. Oh, my goal, according to Upanishad's teaching, is to find my soul, my true original nature. My true original nature is Sat-Chit-Ananda Swarup Atma. When I see it in myself, and having seen it in me, I see it everywhere. I am Atma Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi. That is the goal that I have to practice. How do I? I have to sharpen my faculties. I must be ever sharp, ever alert, ever aware. No forgetfulness, no mistakes, nothing at all. Always correct. Always perfect. Always pursuer of perfection and excellence. No compromise, no excuse. Apramatta. At the top of the world all the time. Nothing goes away. You are aware what you are doing, what you have to do, how you have to do, how perfectly you do. Perfection is nothing but a manifestation of sattvic qualities. Forgetfulness is tamasic quality. Tama doesn't reach there. It is indulgence. Sattvic propelled with rajasic. Satto adhika raja. Trigunatmika maya, it is 90% sattvic and 10% rajasic. Till you reach the goal. Once you reach the goal, you go beyond sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. You are beyond maya. Apramatti navedabhyam sharavat tanmayo bhavi. Be one with your goal. We have completed study up to this shloka. I thought it will be better to revise, otherwise what will happen is it will be a confused thinking and you will not be able to practice it completely, thoroughly, because your thinking is confused. The intellectual conviction must be crystal clear and rock solid. Then only that will convert into a motivation. Hesitancy cuts at the root of all motivation. Remaining 6 shlokas up to the 10th. Remove the 10th. It's a beautiful conclusion. Remaining 5 shlokas. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Remaining 5 shlokas, the Upanishadkara, Angirasha, will place before you various ideas to give you a choice which you hold on to. And don't deviate, practice it. Deviation in intellectual conviction, to some extent is allowed. But while practicing, no deviation is allowed. If you deviate, then similar repetitive activity will not happen. So here, let us read the 5th shloka. Another attitude, how you can identify yourself with the Absolute, the Brahman. Jasmin do prithvi cha antariksham otaha manasaha pranasya sarvair. Jasmin, in which the platform. What is that platform? Isness. Ever existing. Isness. Jasmin, in which this bhuva, swa, that is Prithvi, Antariksha and Do, 3 different concepts of the cosmos, the heavenly, the worldly and the netherworld. Don't bother about it. The whole gamut of, to the extent your imagination goes upwards, imagination goes downwards, and this gross world of ours. The whole gamut of cosmos. Jasmin, Do, Prithvi, Antariksha, the 3 levels of awareness. They are Otam, Prana, Manasya, Sarvair. Prana, Mana, Indriya, Karma, all that is happening to me. They are all posited onto Asmi, isness, Asti. Jasmin, Do, Prithvi, Antariksha, Otam. Otam means properly placed and totally saturated. There's not a speck of space or an iota of time where Brahman is not. Ota means totally permeated, totally percolated, totally saturated. What is that? Isness. Awareness and isness. Without that, you can't conceive of anything. Everything that you can conceive of is residing on it. Tam eva ekam janatha atmanam. Tam atmanam eva ekam janatha. Sorry. Tam atmanam. That self of yours. Ekam. It is Advaitam, it's only, nothing else, no duality. Eva, know for certain. Atmanam janata, that is your goal of knowing. Anya bacha vimunchata, don't waste your time in conceiving and thinking of anything else. Anya bacha vimucchata. Atha esha amritasya setu. This attitude which has been described here, if you follow, you will reach immortality. This last word is an incentive. You say, sir, you are having tall claims on me. Do this, do this, do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. You are always pressurizing me to do things, hard work, sweating. But what do I stand to gain? He says, if you do so, my dear, this is a bridge from this way of life to life of immortality. Atha esha amritasya setu. Therefore, it is, know for certain, a bridge from this way of life to a life of immortality. That means, please, with your wide open eyes, see the whole world and concentrate not on the four concepts of name, form, qualities and utilitarian value. Please don't do that. Go into the fifth dimension. He is there. He is always there. Just to conclude, because I'd like to be very practical, this is Advaita Siddhanta. It is talking about Atman, it is talking about Brahman. For me, a kindergarten class student, you are talking about high superior research work. I can't jump like a monkey to that branch. It's impossible for me. Therefore, in practical spiritual life, the reality of the concept of an avatara and taking help of the name and the form and the qualities and utilitarian value of an avatara, you start proceeding in the domain of four concepts: name, form, qualities and utilitarian value, knowing full well he is a symbol of that absolute. And how to perform it? Convert your flow of life into worshipfulness of the divine. The concept of work disappears, concept of worshipfulness of an avatara, your ideal, your Ishtadeva. You do that, and slowly you will be purified, and a time will come when you will be sharp enough to pierce through Maya and be one with the Absolute. So don't think they are too different. The practical procedure, this is the ideal. And how to reach that ideal is what Swamiji said according to Sri Ramakrishna's teaching, according to the teaching of the Gita. Asakta hi acharan karma param apnoti purusha. A person can achieve that supreme sublime state by performing his duties without any attachment. That is what he says. Sri Ramakrishna says, in this modern age, Jnana Mishra Bhakti Prashasta. Jnana Mishra Bhakti is very, it's a broad, shady avenue to reach the goal. And Swamiji translated that Jnana Mishra Bhakti in an ideology into a practice. Convert the concept of work into worship by adding the fifth dimension of awareness of presence of the divine. I'll develop it next time because it's very practical and very important. Otherwise, you will be in a domain of thoughts which is totally confused and confounded. The ideology must be understood, the procedure must be understood, and how to put it into practice must be understood. The three things must be understood and put into practice. Otherwise, you go nowhere from here. Thank you, dears. Thank you ever so much. We meet again next Sunday.
Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.